Hello students, today let us begin the new lesson, Introduction to History. Dear children, in 6th standard, under the social studies, you are going to learn about history, civics, geography. So under the history, we will be having more lessons. So to study about that lesson, first we should know what is history. So about that, we are going to learn about this lesson, Introduction to History. In this lesson, we are going to learn about meaning of history, the uses of history, sources of history, contribution by the Europeans in the construction of Indian history. Especially, we are going to learn from this lesson about meaning of history. What is the meaning of history? History is the systematic presentation of the past events. So, history is the systematic presentation of past events. In the ancient period, many number of incidents, events took place. So, about that, we are going to learn in the history. So, what is the meaning of history? History is the systematic presentation of past events. By studying the history, we will get to know about the journey of human beings. How the human beings came into the existence, how he started to lead a life, how he became civilized, how he led his life during the ancient period, how it has developed. So, history introduces the journey of human beings and it also tells the failures and success of humans in that journey. So, while explaining the historical incidents or events, the three important factors are important. They are accuracy of time, place, and person. So, while explaining the historical incident, the accuracy of time, place, and person is maintained. This means there is a clarity about when the incident took place, where that incident took place, by whom that incident took place. Without these clarities, history becomes a story. So, story will not become a history. If that story want to become a history, it should have the proper or accuracy of time, place and person. Otherwise, it will be the just story. It may be the true or it may be lie. Next, difference between the story and history. Look at the two sentences. Once upon a time, there was a king in a place he fought a war. Second sentence, Ashoka, who ruled Pataliputra in 261 BC, fought the Kalinga war. In the first sentence, once upon a time, there is no accuracy of time, no proper place, no person. So it is just a story. It will not become a history. So Ashoka, who ruled Pataliputra in 261 BC, fought the Kalinga war. Here the accuracy of time, 261 BC. Name of the person is there, Ashoka. Place is there, Kalinga or Pataliputra. So this is about the difference between a story and history. So while explaining the history, accuracy of time, place and person is important. Then only we can consider that incident is a history. Now, who started the study of history? For the first time, the systematic study of history was started by the Greeks. Here, Herodotus from Greece was considered as a father of history because for the first time he started to study about the history. So, who is considered as a father of history? Herodotus was considered as a father of history. He belongs to the Greeks. So, he was called as a father of history. Who is called as a historian? The one who studies about the history or the one who constructs the history is called as a historian. For the history, sources are very important. Without a source, there is no history. Then what is the source? Source is the basic material necessary for the construction of the history. Simply we cannot say or we cannot explain the some incidents or events. So, for that sources are very important. proof or evidence is important. That is called as a source. What is a source? Source is the basic material necessary for the construction of history, or it helps for the construction of history. Here, let us see the types of history. Briefly, I'll tell you about the types of sources of history, because in detail you are going to learn about the sources of history in 8th standard. So, sources are broadly classified into literary sources, archaeological sources. So, sources are broadly classified into two types. They are literary sources and archaeological sources. Literary source is again classified into two types. They are written literature and oral literature. Literature which is in the written form. Oral literature, there is no written record. So, literary source is again classified into written literature and the oral literature. Here, under the written literature, there are two types. They are native literature and foreign literature. Under the oral literature, folk songs, stories, ballads, myths and legends. It has transferred from mouth to mouth. This is considered as a oral history. Next, about the archaeological history or archaeological sources. Archaeological sources are nothing but physical remains or the ruins of the things used or the constructed structures in the past are called archaeological sources. In the ancient period, people has used the many things. Its remain is considered as a archaeological sources, and it will give some information those who are studying about the history. Here, under the archaeological sources, there are four types. Coins, you will be knowing that in the different times, different types of the coins were circulated. Inscriptions are nothing but engraved writing. Monuments, you know that mosque, temple, church, different type of the palace, forts, etc. Next, pieces of the pots and other artifacts. So, this is about the types of sources. Once again, I'll repeat, sources are broadly classified into literary source and archaeological sources. Literary source is again classified into written literature and oral literature. Then archaeological sources are again classified into four, that is coins, inscription, monuments and pieces of the pots and other artifacts. Next, let us see about the India has introduced by the Europeans. How the Europeans told about the history, how they wrote about the history of India. As you know that in the ancient period, Europeans came to India for the purpose of trade. So here, Jesuit priest means the Christian missionaries arrived in India during the time of 16th century. They undertook a systematic study to understand the lifestyle of Indians. So in that, Heinrich Roth, who was settled in Agra, he translated Sanskrit grammar into the Latin language about 350 years ago. A century later, Father Cowdex identified that there are many similarities between Sanskrit and the European language. So, the British officers also tried to understand the history of then tradition, customs, values, beliefs and laws of the Indians to strengthen their trade relationship. During the time of 1765, they got the Diwani right to collect the tax. So, they should know about the tradition, custom, values, beliefs of the Indian. So they started to learn about the Indian custom, values, beliefs, laws to strengthen their trade relationship with the India. So in that, some administrators were attracted towards the Indian literature and culture. You all know that India is having its own rich culture and the tradition and heritage. As a result, Manusmriti, Bhagavad Gita, and other great literary works were translated into the English language. The British officer, those who came to India, they started to translate the famous works of India like Bhagavad Gita, Manusmriti, and other great literary works were translated to the English language. Here, one of the most famous person, one who studied about the Indology. Indology means the study of India. The person one who contributed immensely to the study of Indology is Sir William Jones. He came to India as a judge of Supreme Court in Bengal and established one organization which is called the Asiatic Society in 1784 CE at Calcutta. Means during the time of 1784, Sir William Jones came to India as a judge of the Supreme Court. For the first time, Supreme Court was established in Calcutta. So, he established one organization which is called as the Asiatic Society in the year 1784, and he contributed immensely to the study of Indology. He was a multilingual expert. Multilingual means he was knowing the many language, and he translated the great works of Gita Govinda. Gita Govinda was the most famous work which was written by Jayadeva. Then Manava Dharma Shastra, then Kalidasa as Shakuntala was a most popular and the famous drama which is in Sanskrit language, that was also translated by the Sir William Jones. Here, who was the person who immensely contributed for the study of Indology, that is Sir William Jones. And what is the organization established by him? That is the Asiatic Society. When it was established in the year 1784. And what is the name of the drama which was written by play or drama which was written by Kalidasa? That is Shakuntala. And it was translated from the Sanskrit language to English language by the Sir William Jones. Next, apart from these, Elphinstone, Coles, Brooke, Cunningham, then Eliot and Dawson have introduced the different stages of Indian history. Many number of Europeans, they studied and wrote about the Indian history. So Francis Buchanan, Colonel Wilkes, then Magnesi, B.L. Rice, Fleet and others European scholars have successfully recorded and preserved the inscription, manuscripts, chronicles, testimonies and contemporary events for the reconstruction of Karnataka history. So another one most famous French missionary or the person who came from France, who is called as Abbé Dubès. He was a French missionary. He arrived and settled at Ganjam near Srirangapatna. He came to India and he settled in Srirangapatna in Mysore, and he lived as a sage. Sage means saint, by adopting the local culture and custom of India. Being a French, he lived here like a sage by adopting the local culture and the custom, and he was called as a Dodda Swami by the local people. The Indian people called him as a Dodda Swami. He wrote about the India, that is Hindu manners, customs and ceremonies. He has presented the Indian custom, values, thoughts, festivals and Varnashrama system. Varnashrama system, there are 4 Varnas. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. About that he has written, and he lived in India 24 years. The long period of 24 years he lived in India, and he wrote about the Indian custom and the tradition, and he returned to the France. One more important famous scholar who came from German, who is called as a Max Muller. He came from Germany, and he was a German scholar. He wrote an English work which is called as a Sacred Book of the East in 50 volumes. Sacred Book of the East, Eastern countries. European countries are the Western countries. Ours, China, then India, these are all the Asian countries, right? So, Eastern countries. So, here Max Muller also wrote about the India. The name of the book which is called as a Sacred Book of the East. Here, James Mill, one more scholar, he came from Scotland. He wrote the book which is called as a History of India in 6 volumes. But one thing is that all the scholars wrote the book by sitting in Europe. They never visited India. Then how they wrote about India? Because the other people who visited India and they recorded about the history of India, then they wrote about the history of India. This shows that India has a rich tradition, custom, values in the ancient period. Here you have to remember, Max Muller wrote the book which is called as a Sacred Book of East. Then James James Mill wrote the book which is called as a History of India. So this is about the lesson Introduction to History. Dear children, in this lesson we have learnt about the meaning of history. Then what are the three important points we have to keep in our mind when we are explaining the history. Then about the opinion or the about the Europeans, history of India by the Europeans. I hope you all understood about this lesson.